been spending most our lives living in a Jupiter at night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Hey there, J-Man.
Hi.
Hey, you know what tonight?
No.
It's all about the kind of kickoff initial launches at CES.
Today was the first day of it.
Yeah, dude.
Looking forward to even more of this stuff coming out.
Tons of tablets. Tablets everywhere.
Tablets to the left of us. Tablets to the right.
Here, there, everywhere a tablet, J-Man. It's been nuts. And I thought we'd talk about some of them that were particularly interesting.
I am on board with that, sir.
A couple of things came out, not just tablet stuff. In fact, Microsoft had, just as we got done recording, started recording, Microsoft just wrapped up their keynote.
Mm-hmm.
Really not too much in there got my attention, but there's a couple things that I know you want to talk about.
There's one I want to talk about, but
Yeah?
I think we can get into the tablets first.
All right, let's talk about it, because the first one I want to talk about is this one from Vizio. You guys probably know Vizio. They make those fairly reasonably priced.
Let's be honest, they're pretty cheap.
Cheap LCDs, TVs and stuff.
But they're
at
not
Costco.
like bad cheap. They're just inexpensive cheap.
Yeah, and they're at CES where they're going to bring out their tablet. And they're also going to introduce a phone, but the interesting take on their tablet is it includes, dun 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 dun, an IR blaster.
Right.
Their tablets and their phones are going to also work as universal remotes for all the Vizio TVs.
And have some sort of specialized apps that are included in it?
Yeah, and even the TVs are going to have some apps on it. And
oh.
The theme of the tablets I think we'll be talking about tonight is Android.
I'm sure we have a couple audiophiles, the home theater guys out there in our audience. And how much do you want a universal control that's a touch interface?
Would be, there's some remotes out there now. And there's some, there's nothing.
The only thing that I think would hold me back from doing that sort of thing, if I had my awesome home theater that I dream of, is battery life. I wouldn't want to have to keep my remote control plugged in at all times.
Right.
So that might still be a drawback. But
plus the other thing,
if the apps are really cool.
On my Android phone here, I have a Boxy Box remote, right? I can control my Boxy player.
Mm-hmm.
That works, but you still need the Boxy Box remote because you don't leave your Android phone on your coffee table all the time.
Right.
So it's only a partial
Plus, you still need your television remote to turn it on if you're going to have your Boxy Box playing something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but if you've got a universal app there for it.
It's just one less thing you have to carry around. You don't have to look for the remote. That's kind of the nice aspect, is I don't have to look for the remote.
Yep.
Now, just a quick nod over T-Mobile, not so much about the tablet, but T-Mobile has announced their G Slate, and this was one of the first tablets that I was tracking today that officially said we're running on Android 3.0 Honeycomb.
Yeah.
Which hasn't actually been announced yet by Google.
And that's the part I find the most interesting about this. Not only that, but they have a few videos on the site that we're linking that is actually
if you're watching the video version
little
today,
snippets of Honeycomb.
They have some videos that show off some new redesigned UI stuff for Android Honeycomb, including Google Talk with some nice slick video chat integration. We haven't heard anything officially from Google, but we've now seen a couple of devices with this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but G-Talk integration does not currently exist on Android phones, right?
You get G-Talk, but you don't get video and voice. It's just text. Right. So this really, on the desktop version, they got pretty good video and good voice. So you move that onto these tablets. Ooh, that's going to be slick. There was also some other shots of the new Android 3.0 UI. Here's the thing, and all these devices I think we're going to talk about from here forward all will be shipping with Android 3.0.
Except the Microsoft one I'll get into a little bit later on, obviously.
Yeah. But this is a tablet-only edition of Android is what they're saying. So did Google just go and splinter the Android OS into a 2.x branch and a 3.0 branch?
Earlier, before the show, if you join us live, you get more of the show.
It's true.
And I kind of mentioned that might be the reason that they have been hesitant to announce it. Is because it is
kind of a turd
fragmenting it.
Yeah. I'll say, though, I'm excited about some of the UI improvements they've made in Honeycomb. It looks like they've really streamlined a lot of the Google apps themselves. I don't know what that means for third-party developers, but like the new task manager program, a new email interface.
I'm sorry, I'm totally distracted by watching the little lights go around the edge of this thing.
Whoever edited this video was very Tron happy. That's for sure. There's a little Tron happy. So
those little light cycles riding all around the outside.
Go check that out, because that Android 3.0, that's the first sneak peek we've seen it in action. So to get this all today has been kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one more tablet, because we're kind of getting through the tablet stuff.
All right.
I think today was a very tablet-heavy day at CES.
Well, if you recall our predictions episode...
Did I call that?
You did.
Okay, now...
This was going to be a tablet year, the year of the tablet.
It seems like every manufacturer is making a tablet, including Motorola. And Motorola might actually have... I will now extend my prediction. I think Motorola is going to have the tablet we're all going to be talking about over the next few months. Unless...
This one?
Yes.
This Xoom?
This Xoom, unless iPad 2.0 ships. But this Motorola Xoom XOOM, check this sucker out. 10-inch screen. Okay, so that's the largest tablet I think we've seen yet at 10 inches. It had a 10.1 inch screen.
So that's the same as the iPad, right?
iPad's 9.7.
Oh.
It'll have a 1280 by 800 resolution, so slightly larger than 720p, room for a bar. It's going to have two 1 gigahertz processors in it, and an NVIDIA Tegra 2 3D chip. So like a real honest-to-goodness...
A dedicated 3D chip.
Yeah. And
nice.
802.11n, Bluetooth 2.0, 1080p playback, going to have the Gingerbread OS, and it's going to ship in the first quarter of 2011 in the U.S. Later, theoretically,
that's
around
just
the
like
country.
months away.
It could be, it
could be tomorrow, actually.
And then they say in Q2 they're going to ship a 4G upgrade card for it, so you can get Verizon's new 4G network. And now that's the telling piece in all of this, because the fact that they weren't able to ship this thing with a 4G chip yet means it's actually probably already in manufacturing.
Yeah,
that they have to retrofit it.
Yeah.
So this, I think...
So it really could be tomorrow.
This, I think, we'll be talking about this Motorola Xoom the most, because with dual processors...
Does that mean you're going to buy me one?
I wish I could buy one. I got to imagine that's going to be a $500-600 device.
Yeah, after hearing those specs, absolutely. That's going to be a pricey one.
Why don't we jump from tablets?
Okay.
Because it's not all about tablets. Honestly, those are just the tablets that piqued our interest. There were so many tablets.
You know what? Actually, real quick,
lay it on me, J-Man.
Change gears. If you guys don't know what CES is, and I don't even remember what CES stands for,
Consumer Electronics Show. Yeah. It's kind of only been going on for a really long time.
I know. I always just call it CES. I don't know what it stands for.
I understand.
Kind of like PAX. A lot of people don't know. Okay, so anyway, but it's a gadget show. So if you're interested in toys, I mean, not just tablets, but phones. And the next one we're going to talk about is a camera.
Yeah.
Also, webcams make appearances there.
Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding? Yeah,
new
totally.
Netbooks, new micro PCs, things like that.
A nice new possible upgrade to the camera that we use was announced. Yeah, from so tons of stuff. I'm just kind of... Tablets definitely seem to be the theme today.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that was
kind of the hot
thing
as well.
I wanted to pick the Samsung camera because I thought this was really neat. It is a nice, like, 16-megapixel camera or something like that, but its unique feature is dual LCD screens. One of the screens is on the front of the camera.
I think that's great. And I think that these have been around for a little while now, because I don't think this is a brand new innovation.
Yeah, maybe not. But I mean, you could always...
That's just a great idea for a camera.
You could always get a camera with a flip-around screen.
Yeah, they did have those.
But, the fact that now you've got a nice, big touchscreen on the back and then another color LCD... Yeah, because
you couldn't do a flip-around one. I mean, show that image again, because the back is all one big screen.
Yeah, totally.
Touch interface, too, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, and now people can be like, "Am I taking a good picture?" They can be able to see themselves.
And this is the end of duck faces and mirror shots on the internet,
maybe,
right?
Though, depending on how it lines up, you might have everyone just looking slightly off camera, just because when you're dealing with that, like here, okay. So for an example, I'm looking about where it would estimate they're looking now. So does it look like I'm looking at that's where my chest is.
Because your son was here
earlier.
We
had a son. On the live stream, we have my son sitting there. Okay, does it look like I'm looking at the camera, Jeremy? Can you look at the monitor screen? Does it look like I'm looking at it?
It looks like you're looking towards the camera.
Okay, so you can't really tell. Okay.
I'll have to watch the
maybe
recording
closer
later.
Range. All right, and then one more kind of really out there funky thing before we get to the Microsoft thing, okay?
Okay.
This one, I totally did not see them coming.
This is also from Motorola. And they're taking the Motorola, I don't want to butcher this, but how would you say that?
Atrix?
Taking
the Motorola Atrix Android phone, which is a 2 CPU
Let's say
phone.
Atrix. Because it sounds like Matrix.
Okay, I like that. It's a 2 CPU phone. It's going to have 4G chipset in it for LTE.
Mm-hmm.
But the real kicker is it docks into a netbook. And that netbook then runs, and you get the keyboard and big screen of the netbook for your Android device.
So, in a sense, that netbook is a peripheral for your phone.
Yeah. So you can walk around with and now remember, you're talking dual-core 1 gigahertz. So theoretically, you got a 2 gigahertz device.
Well, I mean, most phones these days come out
with 1 gigahertz.
But they're more powerful, even those, than like the old Triple E that I have at home.
But you can't ever make it your full-time machine.
because it's small.
But like, if you're traveling,
to type and
right. But with your traveling, this says to me, you just keep this in your bag and you connect it. It's a little Palm Folio. Palm tried to do this and it didn't work. Now Motorola's trying to do it, but they're doing it with Android 2.2.
Is there anything that stands out to you as the reason that this would work when the Palm one didn't?
Just because Android is seeing such a huge adoption in business right now, and I could really see like lawyers and stuff that want to go on the train or on the plane, want to take their phone and don't want to have to carry a whole laptop. I could totally see this working for them.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's supposed to have a massive mega battery in there too. So, yeah, 1900 milliamp battery. So I think your standard battery is like around 1300 milliamps.
So you think we'll see this in pretty widespread use?
No.
Think it'll be adopted by many people?
No, you don't want to have to carry two things around.
So you think it'll just be a toy? Some people might like it, and
some business people will use it, I think, for sure.
That's kind of how I feel about it, too. Yeah. It's a neat idea, but I just don't see people... If you want a laptop, you want a laptop. If you want a netbook, you want a netbook.
Exactly. And let's get on to the Microsoft stuff.
Okay, this is the one that I wanted to bring up. All of that other stuff was Chris's. So if you were bored up until now, blame him.
It's true.
So the Microsoft keynote just wrapped up right before we started, and one of the last things that they showed is the next generation Microsoft Surface.
And it was kind of cool. I'll give you that.
We both went into it going, oh, come on, the Surface, you didn't even ship the first one.
Right.
And so now they're showing this new version that includes, they got rid of the cameras. They're not using a traditional touch interface.
No,
they're calling, what is it, Pixel Sense?
Yeah, Pixel Sense or something like that. And they're saying they've actually turned each pixel into a camera. And they're using a combination of that Gorilla Glass, so it's really tough. And they have a dual-core PC in the table. And, so it's no longer this big box of a coffee table. It's now a slim...
Yeah, you can see the picture right there. It's only 4 inches thick.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't know. So because these per pixel, the way this per pixel cameras works, they actually like laid down a piece of paper and it could actually see what was on the piece of paper.
Yep.
The video demonstration is a lot more powerful, so if you get a chance to check it out, it might be worth the minute or two to watch.
Now, let's not beat around the bush here. They're still probably going to cost $30,000 or so, but they are shipping. Apparently.
I don't know.
I mean, they said they intend to get them out the door this year.
I almost wonder if this might not be cheaper to build. Because the other
rather than the cameras and everything?
Yeah, the other Surface literally was a table that you took the lid off of, and there was like a series of cameras in there and lights and projection and all this stuff, plus a PC. Now they've taken all of that and just basically made a really big, super awesome, cool touchscreen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it could be cheaper. I guess they're in restaurants. I've never seen one in person.
And neither have I. But come on, how much do you want one right here?
Oh, dude. If we could have that right here, and if we could like...
We could integrate our peripherals into it.
Oh, man. We'd be like so Matrix-y or Minority Report. It'd be great.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I'll believe, this...
So Microsoft, if you're willing to sponsor it, let's talk.
Here's the personally interesting thing about this Surface stuff for me. Is I was just thinking, what are we going to see from Microsoft at CES? Because I am just kind of considering them a snore fest most of the point these days.
And, the keynote was kind of long. Most of it was snoozy.
Yeah. And I thought, specifically, I was thinking to Surface. Boy, remember Surface? That just seems like, I was thinking, because that came out before really all of the touch devices. And
that, in a way, it was helping pioneer the touch devices.
But now looking at it, it seems so big and bulky compared to like the iPad or like these touch tablets.
Absolutely.
And I thought, boy, touch, they were just a generation too soon. But this actually seems more in line of what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
It seems more competitive. I know for a fact, if I could lay down business cards on my cell phone using this technology and have it be able to read that business card and scan it.
I hadn't even thought of that because they didn't show it during their presentation, but it totally could with this Pixel Sense stuff.
And you put that on a phone.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
Because that means no more having to use your camera. Your phone is the camera.
Yeah. When I take pictures of business cards now for Evernote, I'm sitting here and I line it up and I try to get it just right. Man, if I could just lay it down
and
there.
then if there's just the slightest little shake when you press the button,
you know what else I wonder? Depending on how accurate it is, could you do thumbprint authorization to unlock your phone?
If it's every single pixel.
Look at that thumbprint right there. I just put on there doing that.
That's a pretty clear thumbprint.
I gotta wipe that off now.
If it's every single pixel sensing whether or not it's on or off on a black and white thumbprint, it should be able to handle that.
Yeah, black and white's fine for that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the technology I'll watch.
So I basically, to sum up, after watching all of the CES stuff today, I'd have to safely say we're living in the future.
Speaking of future technology, the Microsoft Kinect, right?
I've heard of it.
They mentioned they sold 8 million units.
Which is a high number.
That is, since it's only been out for a few months. Here's the interesting thing. the company behind it is, I think it was Logitech or another company. PrimeSense is the company that sold that licensed that technology to Microsoft.
Right.
It might not have been a sell. It might have been a license, because it sounds like they just made another licensing deal with somebody like Logitech or something like that. Another Kinect type device only for the PC. I don't know if the chat room, if anybody in the chat room has a link to that. I wonder if
that's one of the reasons that some of those open source projects have been getting so much guff.
Well, think about it, though. I mean, if you combine this device built for the PC with something that's like open source drivers, I mean, that could be a really powerful combination.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. I'm trying to remember the name.
So the flying cars should be announced tomorrow. Somebody asked in the chat room. Van Desk did. So, you know, it's CES, though. I don't know. They might hold that off until the big car show, though. What
we're going to see tomorrow. We saw some phones, so I don't know if we're going to see other stuff. Oh, it was Asus. Asus is working on it. That's right. Not Logitech. And they call it the...
Xtion?
Yeah,
is that what it said?
Yeah, and it's not quite the same technology.
XTION?
I was...
Well, a lot of the Kinect is actually built by Microsoft.
Yeah.
But the core of it.
So this is, but they're for whatever, I don't know what their intention is, but these PrimeSense folks have licensed it to Asus.
Teamed up with PrimeSense, yeah.
Yeah, they've licensed it to Asus, and I don't know exactly what we're going to get out of that, but curious.
I really like the idea, just there's no more a monopoly on the market. Because I want to use that thing on my PC. I'm not as much a console person.
Right.
And I could totally get into, you know, motion.
It works now.
UI integration with motion and everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, where can I keep our eyes down and be looking for all kinds of CES stuff tomorrow?
The rough plan, though, is that I'm supposed to be getting the last piece of my custom PC in the mail tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If it arrives, I will be building it right here.
We're going to build it live, and we'll probably talk about CES gadgets, why we build Jeremy's new Ultimate gadget.
And I know that a lot of you might not find the actual building of it all that interesting, but I'm hoping that maybe I can set aside a few tips for some of you that are like those out there that might be afraid to open up their own PC and get into the guts.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help alleviate some of those fears.
If nothing else, they might have an opportunity to just watch us fail on air live.
Yeah, and that's always fun.
That's definitely one to tune in for live. Go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com/live, 8 p.m. tomorrow night. One quick errata from yesterday's episode. I mentioned that the Northwest Goofballs will be out on Wednesday over at jupiterbroadcasting.com.
Which would have been today.
We had some issues with the host getting here because their car broke down.
Automotive failures,
and unfortunately they weren't able to record the episode.
They were trying out one of the prototypes of the flying cars.
Yeah. But they're coming in tonight to record, so check Jupiter Broadcasting probably Thursday evening for that.
It will be coming because they still have a lot to say. They still want to record.
Ultimate football podcast. Seriously, there's probably not another better podcast out on the internet. I've decided that.
Not even this show.
Well, dang it. I didn't think that one through. Football podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for watching tonight's episode of Jupiter at Night, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow night.